Robert Bruce Browning, December the 7th, 1977, 2 o'clock. The day that I came in and signed on the dotted line, put my hand on the Bible and swore allegiance to the Queen. Well, it's a family tradition. My father enlisted at age 17, went into the Second World War. He did over 30 years. He had the privilege of serving in 3 major conflicts, which World War II, Korea, and he had the misfortune of wearing a blue helmet in between the Indians and the Pakistanis about 1966 when they decided to have a fight. He was in the UN, and he was in the middle of a war zone with a pace stick and a blue helmet to divide 2 warring nations as he walked up a mountain. Made for interesting tales around dinner. So anyway, after that it was just a bit of a family thing. Dad did it, why not me? It's a way of life. It's a commitment that you learn around the dinner table. I am proudly a base brat. A base brat is a youngster that is born into the military. Your dad was in. They'll say, well, where are you from? Canada. Can you narrow it down? No. I was born in Barrie, Ontario, which is just outside of Borden. 6 months after I was born, we were in Zost, West Germany. And after Zost, to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, to Churchill, Manitoba, Edmonton, Alberta, to Halifax, Nova Scotia, to Kingston, where my father retired as a major. Dad's fine story is he started off as a private in World War II. He survived that with some injuries and then re-enlisted after he did university and went on to go to Korea. He had a successful career well over 30 years. In 1977, I enlisted and the whole process began again. Mixed emotions. Dad was happy and Mom was terrified. The only time I really saw her cry is 1991 when I went off to the Gulf. We know the job, we have the support, is your family that you leave behind. I am by profession a radio technician and I'm in support. Was nowhere near the front lines. My actual location of duty was in Cyprus at a British air base, and when all the aircraft came through on their way, I was one of the last people they saw at that midway point. Support is never glamorous, but if we don't do it, who will? When I enlisted, there was a poster on the wall. It showed one infanteer, and it said he can't do his job without 135 people, all doing their job in unison to get him to the front line. He can't fire a rifle if he doesn't have the bullets. The bullets don't get there. Soldiers get hungry. Did you know that? You should see what it takes to get him his supper there. He can't call in for air support without the radio. It goes on and on. I don't need the glory. I'm happy working in the shadows. Basic training. It was a lot harder for some guys than it was for me. I'd had the pleasure of cadets and whatnot. I knew how to shine my shoes. I didn't like getting my hair cut, but I knew the game. At 128 guys in the platoon, we graduated 62. What people don't understand is you have the right to apply for this job, but not everybody's cut out for it. It's just not for everyone. When you're out there in that one position you never really want to be in, you want to believe that the person beside you is going to be able to stand beside you. And if they're huddled up in a ball on the ground crying and screaming, they're of no use to you. In basic training, they tried to weed that out. I don't know what they do today, but in 1977-78, they were pretty darn good at it. And they encourage all walks of life, male and female, to join. They have to maintain the standards, or at the worst possible time, you'll find out who's sitting beside you. But one of my favorite stories was we were in Petawawa, and rappelling was easy off the tower, then they kicked us out of helicopters. After 6 or 8 hours of jumping out of a helicopter, it got boring. So my buddy looked across from me and said, I'll race you to the bottom. So we both kicked off and it was a 100-foot rope. At 98 feet, we put the brake on, and that's when you discover the rope stretched 4 feet. That doggone guy got there before I did, so we had to race again. No sanity required. The greatest years of my career in Trenton, Ontario. I was attached to the ATCCU, Air Transportable Communications and Control Unit. I walked into work one morning. The boss looked at me and told me to pack. I phoned home that night from Germany. If anybody deserves a medal out of this whole operation, it would be my wife. The girls of the military can be anywhere in the world, thousands of miles from their mothers and friends. So yeah, the girls in the military, they're special. When you join up, you think you know everything, like every young person, and you discover very quickly it's a much bigger world, and it's very complex, and it just doesn't work quite the way you thought it would when you were 18. I learned to be patient, and I learned to listen to others and keep on learning the whole time. Always pursue your education, because there's always more to learn. It's a constant learning process. It truly is a very close-knit group, especially when you're deployed. That's your whole family out there. It's been said many times, it's not just a job. It's a calling, it's a duty, it's something that you do. When you get into the military, you realize just how big the world is.